Yes, he's the guy that successfully transferred Watchmen onto the big screen, and yes, he made 300, but the man also made Sucker Punch, which is literally one of the worst films in history, and, Man of Steel, which while it was visually impressive, boiled down to a 10-year-old's Michael Bay-style wet dream of Dragon Ball Z and Superman getting smashed together while somebody eagerly urges them to kiss. Style over substance is a real danger with Snyder, and it could stop the film dead before it even gets going. If Snyder is about to go back to the more fantastical basis of Batman, then this is a world and a half away from Nolan's hyper-real series. We might have spent an entire film with Superman, but what about the new Batman? We need some time to take it in. It would have made a lot more sense to launch Batman and then go into Batman v Superman. DC and Marvel are worlds apart. They always have been, always will be. Marvel are smashing it at the box office, DC are building a respectable TV audience with some really good shows. We're not saying DC shouldn't make films. We want to see our favourite DC characters on the big screen as much as anybody else. It's just that they shouldn't be doing it this way. It feels like they're lusting after the big bucks, and that means they're more likely to sacrifice strong films for sheer profit. Putting Batman and Superman as the central characters in one film and leaving The Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Shazam, and Cyborg to fend for themselves is a pretty risky move. Even with Justice League Part 1 bridging some of those releases and probably some awareness trips through the TV shows, you've also got to reboot Green Lantern. What if any of them bomb? Will there be more reboots, or are you just going to retcon and crack on like nothing ever happened? Batfleck caused a bit of a rift. We don't really think he's going to suck too hard, but if Snyder's going with The Dark Knight Returns as a basis, how come Batman's still fairly young? And if the Jenna Malone rumor's true, how come Carrie Kelly's now like 30? We know he's just using it as a basis, but come on, it's one of the most beloved Batman stories out there. If you're really going to take from it, at least stick closely to the source material. Also, Eisenberg as Luthor? Really? Batman's kind of famous for not being a team player. He's also very wary of Superman most of the time. They're two sides of the same coin, but they're in complete contrast of one another. They're bitter acquaintances. It's what makes their partnership so great. While it's going to be pretty awesome to watch them go round for round, particularly with Snyder's visuals, what happens when the pair realise there's a mutual enemy, which, if we're honest, is obviously what's going to happen? Do they just immediately become super pals? Not handling Batman and Superman's relationship correctly could be a real film killer. Just to go back to The Dark Knight Returns for a second, if this is the way that Warner are going, it's only going to serve to disappoint. It'd be like Marvel launching the MCU with Civil War. If Snyder is going to go with this story arc, it has a very definite outcome, and there's no coming back from it. It's also going to set a lot of die-hard fans up for crushing disappointment when they discover that he's Frankensteined it together with a pile of other Batman stories. Save for some kind of major box office bomb, Justice League's on the horizon, and we know that some of these characters are going to receive cameo appearances and bit parts in Batman v Superman, but it's starting to look like it's going to feel like a teaser for something we've got to wait another few years for. If the film does peter out to a Let's Be Super Pals finale, it's really going to feel like a bloated layup and a waste of time. Plus, how the hell are they just going to drop in an Aquaman cameo? Does it not feel a little bit like Superman's getting screwed over a bit on this one? He's literally just become Superman, and we're immediately jumping to a game-changing outing without any further development. Plus, with all the excitement of new Batman, is anyone even going to be focusing on Superman this time out? What started as his sequel is rapidly becoming the next Batman film. Disregarding Superman could make the story very one-sided. While Man of Steel started out well, and it's probably one of the best looking films we've ever seen, it petered out into punch-in and explosions with no depth and very little in the way of character growth. The reviews were admittedly so-so, but as long as it makes money, they don't so much care. If they come out of the blocks with a similar shiny film with no story and more of our favourite characters along for the ride this time, it could be a car crash waiting to happen. We hope we're wrong and it kicks ass, but we got until 2016 to nervously chew our fingers off. What do you think? Batman Superman? Is it going to work? Or is it going to be the worst thing since Clooney and the rubber nipples? Let us know in the comments below, and remember to subscribe.